Hi, everyone, and welcome to Pro Tips. My name is Anna McNaught, and today we're going to be doing some pro tips in Photoshop and learning how to use blending mode. I'm super excited because you all may know me as a host here on Adobe Live, but today I get to show you some of my favorite things in Photoshop and some methods that I use to create glow. So I just want to welcome everyone here to the show today and welcome everyone into the chat. Hey, Wade and Steve and Carol and James, I'm so excited to have you here with me today. And right after this stream, we are going to be hopping into Discord. You can see that link below in the description. And I'm going to be answering all of your questions over there. You'll see my face on the video, and then we can also share my screen if you have additional questions as well. So I don't want to waste any time because we have 3 exciting things to hop into today. So I just want to dive right into pro tip number 1 in blending modes. This is one of my all-time favorite pieces. You all may have seen this on my Instagram, may have seen me demo this before. It's just a piece that makes me so happy. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make glow on this piece. So let me just get right into it. All right, so I composited this image a while ago. We're not going to go through that today. We're just going to be talking about how to kind of create some atmosphere here and make this turtle really come to life. If you want to know how to composite this, we can talk about that in another stream, which I may go live on my own Behance. So let me know in the chat if that's something that's interesting to you. Let me just pop over here. Okay. So I went ahead and just added a color balance here. You can see all of my crazy layers. We got a lot going on. This was a very complicated piece, but I'm just going to close that up and then pop this color balance on. Super simple. All I did here was just adjust down to cyan and blue and green to kind of give that nice nighttime, moody underwater feel that you all may know from most of my work is kind of along those lines, right? So what we're going to do here is we are just going to make a new layer, and we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of painting here to create the glow. And this stream is all focused on blending mode. So we're going to be using that in 3 different ways and kind of just playing with things in a kind of similar but slightly different style. So first I'm going to pick a nice bluish teal color here to kind of match the mood of the turtle. And let's just see what this would look like if we were on normal blending mode. So we could go ahead and paint, and we just get our basic brush. And you could do this on a tablet. That might work out better. I'm doing this with my mouse right now, but I also have my iPad set up over here when I want to get those fine details for painting. So now let's see if we go into blending modes and we turn this down to overlay. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit more glow here. We can go in and paint this in, and that automatically already one touch of a button makes this look so much more realistic, and you could come in and paint this. So I like to use overlay quite often when I'm kind of creating this overall atmosphere look, but I really like to use color dodge when I'm getting into the details of the glow. So maybe I would use this a little bit just to get started and start to create the atmosphere of the turtle. So let's just actually trash that real quick. We will make a new layer, and then just with a big brush, and I like to bring my flow pretty low when I'm working on this. I bring it down somewhere around 10. It doesn't really matter. It's totally up to you, but I think that with a lower flow, sometimes you can kind of control it a bit more. Oh, we have to be on overlay. All right, there we go. So we're just gonna pop a little bit of color in here and start to create some mood. Bringing that flow down. And this is a very slow process. I'm not going to take my normal amount of time to do that because we don't have that time today. But if you're working on this on your own, you really want to think about as if you're painting a picture and you're just slowly building the layers and you're adding a little bit in at a time. You don't want to go crazy and try to like do this all at once. So I'm going to make a new layer here. I was just doing it without even telling you all what I'm doing. And I'm going to put it on color dodge. So if we were to have our flow all the way up at 100 and we start painting, it's going to look crazy. That's not the look that we're going for here. We want to slowly build this. Okay, so now there's a little trick when you're painting with color dodge. And I don't know why this is, but for some reason, this is the case. You're going to want to double click on the layer and you're going to want to turn off transparency shapes layers. Now, if anybody knows why this is a use case, let me know. And maybe I can have a better explanation of it, but you'll just turn that off. And then what this is going to do is going to help create that glow more seamlessly. All right, so we are going to bring the flow nice and low here, and then we're going to start to paint. And you can already see like, this is just such a great glow use, and it just makes this beautiful, perfect glow. We can pop some color in on our ocean here. And if I were to move over to my tablet here, I could get nice and refined and come in and do these edges. Obviously, that's not going to look as good with my mouse right now, but we will really kind of bump up this glow. I've had a lot of people ask me about how I paint glow and why sometimes color dodge doesn't work. And that's usually because of not turning off that transparency shapes layers. That makes everything work. So we are going to just paint a little more in here and really just kind of taking your time with this, going along and making everything look nice and bright and glowy. And I have a whole course all about glow, like shows you every different way to paint glow on my website. And it's pretty cheap. It's for sale for $27 right now. And it will go into all the detail, little self-promotion for y'all. Okay. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Like I said, we have a few other examples that we need to get into. But yeah, you would just kind of slowly go along and build up that glow. So let me just turn these off and show you what I did when I took my time. So you can really see like this is before and then this is after, and it just creates that beautiful glowing atmosphere. And I did a number of different layers. We have a color dodge here. Let me just turn them all off. Color dodge here in the ocean. And then we got another color dodge here for the leg and the grass and some of his shell. And then a final color dodge to really just amp up that color. Then usually when I'm done with everything, I will go into Camera Raw and add in a final color. And that's another great way to get kind of that perfect atmosphere, perfect glow. We're not going to go into that today, but I would love to do another pro tips on Camera Raw because watch this. Perfect. It looks so nice when you add that Camera Raw in. It just like cleans it all up, puts all those colors nice and blended together and kind of like incorporates the glow that we created. All right, so we can talk more about that in Discord. I know we went through that a little bit fast, but pretty simple, great use case for making a beautiful fantasy photo. And you can use this in many different ways if you want. You can really amp it up. You've seen it all in my photos where I pump that glow so hard. So you can do that any way you like. All right, so let's move on to pro tip number 2. This is another tip for blending modes inside Photoshop. And we're going to take this drab photo and turn it into something spectacular. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is just copy this layer. We're going to go Command J on a Mac, Control J on a PC. And I'm going to actually just replace the sky first. So you're getting a little more than just blending modes in this lesson, also getting into the sky. Okay, so we are going to go to sky replacement. And I already picked out this one when I was looking at it before, but as most of you may know, you can go through and pick out a sky of your liking. You can also come in and add in more here. So this was a stock image from Adobe stock that I imported, and this one's going to work perfectly for this. So we'll just scale it up a little. So we get rid of those mountains. Haven't really seen mountains like that in the desert. And then bring it down. So that looks pretty good. maybe bring the brightness up, and you can control all of these nice little details. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. Then you can go in and do a lot more adjustments here, but we're not going to do that today. So I am going to click OK. And then just close this folder up here. And I'm going to add a layer on top of it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of bring some life into this photo. It seems a little bit drab. So I'm going to set my blending modes on overlay. I like to use overlay all the time. I kind of only use a few of the blending modes, I would say, but I end up using screen, color dodge, obviously, for the glow, and then overlay, sometimes soft light and hard light, but overlay is just a really good use case for everything. And it brings a lot of color and brightness into your image. And I think that helps a lot in many different cases. So we're going to kind of pump up the color of this sand. So let's see. Pick kind of like a nice warmish red. And I did this yesterday and was working on it, and I kept changing my mind on the color. So see what comes out today. And again, using a nice low flow until you start to get the color you want. So we're just going to paint over this just like that. And we can kind of tone this down if we want. And if I was really getting into this edit, I might go and layer mask myself out so that it's not as bright on my body, but we can also go and tune this, just tone it down a little bit. But it is kind of fun. I do like the intensity of it. And then we're going to just, by using this flow, we can kind of build up those colors and build up how it looks. So we're going to just start to kind of paint back here a little more where that brightness is. All right, so then we'll add another layer, and this time we can either do it on overlay or we can do it on, let's use color dodge again. So we're gonna pick maybe like a pinkish color for the sunset there. Actually, let's go a little brighter. I don't know why it's like acting white. That is weird. Okay, let's see. Oh, maybe we have to do our transparency shapes layer. Sometimes you don't if you're just kind of painting color in, but let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, this is a perfect example of when it acts weird when you don't do that. So we are just going to, why did it turned off? Okay. Paint in a little bit of color back there, and even turning the flow down like really low. And just kind of going around and changing your colors, getting the look that you want. And I love this technique because you can do this on any photo. Like this is a travel photo. I'm doing it a little bit more intense for the purpose of this lesson. But if you were doing this for a client and maybe it was a rainy day and you wanted to just pop a little bit more light in there and kind of give it that overall beautiful sunsetty look or glowing afternoon, color dodge and overlay are going to be your best friend for this, and they're going to make everything just look so pretty. Okay, so maybe we add in a little bit of blue up into our sky. And I know many people will use Photoshop more in a technical way where you're kind of putting in these number values or really kind of getting into the way it's maybe meant to be used. There is no meant to be used, but I end up often for all of my work doing everything in like a very painterly style and just using my brush to control everything. And then you can just continue to build up on this, and maybe you want to do like a darker overlay, and you can do that as well. So maybe we pick like a darker red. Let's see how that looks. I haven't tried this yet, so maybe it's not going to work. Let's see if we do. Okay, so it's just kind of giving us like a darker pink color. We can kind of scroll through our our blending modes here and see what ends up working the best for this. And sometimes I end up doing that too. I will get everything in place, get the colors the way I want them, and then I'll scroll through to see which one I like best. So, I mean, linear burn works really well here. And yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good. So let's see. So here's before. Look at that. So sad and drab. And here's after. So I would obviously spend some more time on this, really kind of perfecting it and getting all the colors to look good. But you can just see how simple this is. This took me, what, like 3 minutes to start to bring some life and color back into this image, whether it's a fantasy piece or a travel edit or a piece for client. Like, using these blending modes, they're so powerful, and you can use them in many different ways than I even just did now, whether you're layering them, you're adding opacity, you're subtracting opacity, any way that you're coloring on top of these layers, it's going to change your entire art flow and your overall piece. All right, so hopping over here to pro tip number 3. This is another case of blending modes in Photoshop, and we're going to be adding some glow to this text. Let me know if you have any questions on any of the pieces that we went through so far. If we have a little bit of time at the end, I can go back, and then we will, of course, also talk about these over on Discord. Yes, just reading your chat here. Huge difference between before and after. I know, it's amazing, right? Like, and I didn't even, let's just go back to this real quick. So I did not even add any sort of camera raw or actual photo editing. So imagine if you put this in Lightroom first, or you were in camera raw inside Photoshop, or you did a little color balance and curves, however you edit. Imagine if you did that first and then you added these blending modes on top. Like, you would have an absolutely spectacular image. All right, just had to add that in there. Okay, so I'm going to turn this one off for now. We're going to focus on this one. And let's see, our first thing that we are going to do. So you always want to, when you're making this glowing text, you want to start with white text. And I typed my name in here, and I turned it into a smart object. So that's going to be step number 1. Then you'll just double click on this to open layer styles and your blending options. And what we're going to do is move this off of here so we can see. We're going to add an inner glow first. And we want to add a hard light. And you can play around with these too. This is just a method that I learned. There are so many different ways within layer style that you can create this glowing effect. So you don't have to follow what I'm doing exactly. But we're going to change this to, let's do like a purpley color. And we're going to bring that size up so you can see it will start to cover all of it. We want to bring our opacity up. And we're just kind of trying to go for that neon look. And then you can click on the contour and you can start to play around with this too to kind of build up that color even more and start to get, you can see here when we pull the contour up that it's changing just slightly the amount of space that we have of the white and the amount of space that we have of this purple color. Okay, so click OK on that, and then we'll go over to outer glow, and we're going to change that to linear dodge add. And then we're going to add in, let's make it also a nice bright purpley color, and we're going to bring our size up on that and the opacity. Woo! Booyah! Look at that. That is super cool. You know I love a good glow, and my name Glowing is even cooler. So this is just super fun to play with. You can bring the size up on it to kind of give it like a nice burst, or you can keep it tight behind it and play around with that color. get all sorts of different fun effects here. I kind of like the purpley look. And then again, clicking on that contour, and this is something that I don't use that often, but it really does kind of help bring up the intensity of it. So you can see just by bringing the contour up here, we get a different kind of look. You can play around with it and get really funky. This is just kind of a fun thing to do. So just going to go like that. And then what I sometimes like to do is, let me just reset this, is add a drop shadow. And what you can do with a drop shadow, rather than using it as an actual drop shadow, is you will play around with it to create it, to use it as a glow. So we'll put it on linear dodge again, and then we'll just bring it to maybe a darker purple. And we can start to, let me make it different so you can see it. So we can kind of add additional glow there and make it like super crazy and funky. This is really great with the drop shadow because you can then add in additional drop shadows. So you can just click the little plus icon here and get another drop shadow and do the same thing, linear light, maybe you do it in a different color. And so I use this often when I'm building glow within my pieces where I'm starting to kind of build out, like say on a glowing crystal or something that needs kind of that halo effect around it. I will start to use drop shadow just to create that look. So I'm just going to click OK. That looks really good. We can duplicate this layer if we want it even more intense. That automatically gives it this very Vegas, crazy, glowing look. It's really all a matter of what you're interested in doing. So lastly, hopefully we have time to get through this one, but we are going to do another glow effect. And this is, again, already a smart object. We're going to put it inside a group, make sure it's in there, and we're going to build this out. So the first thing we're going to do is go to blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to just blur those edges a little bit with 0.5. Right. And then we are going to duplicate that 6 times. And I don't think you have to do it exactly 6 times. This is just what I learned and what I've always done. Okay, so we got 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. And then we're going to just quickly go in and change the amount of Gaussian blur on these. We're going to do 5. 10. Let's bring this up so I can see better. Let's do 25 and 200. Starting to build that glow atmosphere. And we'll do 500 on this one. And I missed one in here. I think I was supposed to have a 75, but that's fine for now, just kind of creating that glow. So then underneath all of your layers, you're going to add a solid color. I'm going to drag this down. So we'll add solid color and we will make it pure black. And just make sure this is at the bottom of the stack inside your group. Okay, we're going to close that group up. And then we're going to add in a gradient map. So I use gradient map quite often for creating my glow. This is just a really great way to kind of, again, build it out slowly. You can use it for text. You can use it when you're painting. You can use it in all different ways. And so we're just going to add some colors in here. And let's see. Oh, first we have to clip it. Very important. Okay. Cancel out of that. There we go. Okay. It is clipped. Click back into our gradient map and we're going to add some colors in here. So we just click and then boom, look at that. Can you all tell that I really love glow? So this is really fun, like such a cool way. You can move these around to kind of change the amount of glow that you have on this. You can bring it way down, and a really fun way to create some funky text or to use this within your compositing and all of your different features here. Okay, so let's just make this warm, kind of try that out. That's kind of, no, I don't want to do that. Kind of fun. And we want that to be white. But you can always change that too. If you wanted your text to be a certain color, if you're going for some sort of really cool graphic look. Yeah, Wade said, big fan of gradient maps. I agree. Like gradient maps are so fun, and you can do so many different things with them too, and just really, really push your Photoshop skills to the next level. I often, when I'm creating my glow on some of my art pieces, I will go in and slowly paint everything in with a gradient map too. So I teach all of that in my course as well. But yeah, this looks so good. I'm very excited about this. I love it. So I know we went through those so fast. I can't believe how quickly this stream went. But if you all want to join me over in Discord, we can continue to talk about these pro tips or additional tips. We can go back through anything that you may have missed, or I can answer any questions. We can change the color on these. Let's just turn this back on here. So we made some really, really cool looks with these. Like I am happy with that glow. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. I will see you all over in Discord. And if not, have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Take care. Bye.